Hey guys, this is Young Living Diamond Sarah Harnish, and we're doing a super brief session tonight, mostly because I am 7 days out from my daughter's wedding. So we're about to leave and go north and do all the crazy things. And I'm pretty excited because I have 4 sons and 1 daughter. So for those of you guys that have baby girls, you know how special and precious this time period is. So next Tuesday, we are not going to do class 121, which is the Manly Man class. I'm going to take a week and we'll be driving back from the wedding then. I'm sorry, forgive me. Tuesday, we will do the Manly Man class. I leave in a week. So the week after that, the 122 class, I'm just going to do a quick business training with you. And it'll be while we're on the road driving back from New York down to South Carolina, which is kind of crazy. So tonight, I'm just going to give you a really quick highlights of the workbook. We're not going to go long. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the mini. So one of the ways I've been using the scriptbook mini, especially for the seedlings class, is to use it as a tool to draw people to more classes. And we're having huge results from this. I mean, we were adding at our lowest, we dropped to about 40 or 50 people a month that we were adding to our team. And now we're back up around 200. So, and the secret to that is getting people to come to more than one class, especially if your class counts are a lot lower than they were pre-pandemic. It can be really discouraging because people just aren't used to getting in the car and being in front of human beings right now. Like they're used to being in their homes, socially distancing, all of that. So I hand these out at the beginning of the class. And I say, listen, you're going to get a gift for coming tonight because I'm so thankful that you gave up your time. And if you get to 3 classes, you're going to get this gift. Maybe I'll give you a glass bottle for your thieves cleaner, or you come to 5 classes, I'll give you a sample of CBD, and just get them really excited and use this as a tool, almost like a class's passport. I give something pretty big if they come to all 25 classes. So let's flip to the seedlings class. Super simple. There are some key points from the class, which we did 2 days ago. You can go down and look at the video below. A little heart message gives them an idea of what to order, and then a quick action step. So remembering the class is dedicated to the littlest people in your life because you are their protector. The things that you do at this age sets the tone for how their body is going to respond lifelong. The baby products at the store are not safe. If you flip each product over and you take a look at the ingredients and there's an ingredient that you don't know, you just search it in Google with the words dangers of, and you're going to be blown away by what is hiding in your baby food, your wipes, your diapers, your care products like rash cream. It's actually disgusting. And it's really crazy how many of these companies have been sued. If you go to look at the history of Johnson & Johnson, if you guys want a really good rabbit trail tonight, when you're done, go Google Johnson & Johnson baby powder and take a look at some of the stuff that's happened with some of the products that they've created. It'll make you physically sick that they're using this stuff on children. Another thing I talk about is why should a baby's first food not be rice cereal or any of the jarred baby food? Guys, it's so easy to smash a banana or an avocado, which is one of the first foods I start my kids on. Making bone broth is a little bit more tricky, but mix it in with stuff and get their palate used to the salty stuff and not the sweet stuff. You don't want to start them on sweet stuff. Rice, it's what everybody tells us to use for babies first, is a huge gut irritant, and it's loaded with carbs and lacking in nutrients, and it's the #1 baby food tainted with heavy metals, mercury, lead, and arsenic because of how the rice is grown. Avocado, egg yolks, bone broth are some of the most nourishing foods outside of breast milk. So the first 2 supplements a baby should have are cod liver oil and a probiotic followed by enzymes. I'm just reading to you right out of the mini in the 120 seedlings class. Tuesday, we're going to do the Manly Man class, and then we're going to take a little week off. Tom says, hello from Port Angeles, Washington. Tom, I'm so glad to have you. So 82% of kids every single week are exposed to 1 or more ingredients with the potential to harm the brain and the nervous system. 69% of kids are exposed to ingredients that disrupt hormones. 6% exposed to ingredients that cause cancer. 80% of children's products are labeled gentle or non-irritating, and yet they cause allergies or skin and eye irritation. Many diapers contain bleach. They contain chlorine. This isn't good stuff for you. So these are ingredients you want to watch out for in baby products. Mineral oil, super bad. Synthetic musks, sodium benzoate is a preservative, parabens, bronopol, a lot of the stuff. So just flip some of the things over and be like, okay, I don't need any of this stuff in my life. So let me give you just a quick heart message and then tell you what to order in an action step. And then we're going to jump right into the workbook, and we're going to do the workbook super fast tonight. So heart message is the why behind the training. I just finished a history study with my 2 high school sons, and I was blown away by the number of things that kids were exposed to back in the early 1900s. We were studying American history in meat packing plants, in clothing factories, with intricate and dangerous machines that had to be restrung. They were losing their fingers and their toes. They were working 60 plus hours a week, sometimes for pennies a day. Reporters found out what was going on, and labor laws changed to protect those babies. It makes me angry to think about how many things are on store shelves that manufacturers knowingly and willingly produce at the cheapest possible price point, aware of the dangers to the kids that are going to use them. Diapers are a good example. I love the idea of cloth diapering, but with 5 kids, I opted for organic bamboo disposable diapers instead, because it's what I could do. I had to draw a line. Why is the chlorine in the bleach near our babies' bums? I would love to believe that there's going to be a day when it's all diminished, just like the child labor laws of the 1900s, and these companies will be held accountable for the child cancer cases and infertility cases that they've caused. But until then, you got to know better to do better. So swap a few things. You might look at the whole Seedlings line and be like, all right, girl, I don't even know where to start. Like, I'm so overloaded. Just pick something. Maybe their shampoo, maybe their toothpaste that you're washing their teeth with. Maybe it's not food. Maybe it's their diaper rash cream. That's a good place. Just start in one spot. Do not take what they tell you in the store and TV at face value. Research it all. This is a time when being a bit sassy is a really, really good thing, because you might be saving your little one from something very serious down the road. So what should you order? The baby shampoo and wash, just type in the word seedlings in youngliving.com. You get a whole list of things. Wipes, lotion, diaper rash cream, baby oil, linen spray, calm essential oil, the feather the owl diffuser. I love those. Are great starting places. And your action step is to swap the nasty chemicals in your home with the Seedlings line. Stock up and start your baby's first oils collection. Get a little rack for them and begin a rack in their room. Some of my favorites are Gentle Baby, Peace and Calming, Lavender, and Vanilla. All right, now we're going to switch gears, and I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and we are going to, we're just going to take a look at the workbook for a few minutes. So if you haven't had a chance to grab this workbook, it is just awesome. Like, it's incredible. This workbook is, I'm dropping things here. This workbook is as big as the script book is, which is crazy, like crazy that the book is the same size as the workbook. I'm going to wait for just a second because I lost my signal when I switched to screen share. And I want to make sure that all of our people are able to hop on and we don't lose you guys all the time. We've been having a ton of signal issues, just oodles and oodles of signal issues, because I don't know. I wonder if it's the job market is affecting all of the people that are in the internet industry as well. So the workbook is phenomenal because it really tears apart the book. If you want good action steps and you want your team to apply it and you want to get OGV growth, go get the workbook and pick just a couple things out of it and focus on it. So I'm going to give you a 10-minute version of the workbook. Like, how would I cherry pick a few things in the workbook and start sharing those things in a non-overwhelming way? So let me go over to the workbook. First page is a coloring page, super easy. You guys can absolutely share some of the key points, but every time I open a chapter in the workbook, I share a little bit of my story and my family and a little bit of me with you guys. So the baby class, I thought I'd be a real mess when my kids grew up and moved on. And I'm just being straight with you guys. I've homeschooled 4 out of 5 of my kids through graduation since they were 3 years old, and my oldest son since he was 6 years old. We've traveled the world together, and these poor kids have been saddled with me just about nonstop. So I'm really close with all of my kids. So to the left are 2 members of the Harnish herd, the Irish twins. This is Grace and Isaiah. This picture was taken on homeschool high school graduation day. And then the second photo is Grace and Isaiah in acrobatics together. Their ages 9 and 10. Isaiah got married last week. Grace gets married next week. So it's really just, oh my gosh. And this is Isaiah. He always gives me a heart wherever he is. So you give me a heart when you're at a convention, you're going to melt my heart into a puddle. So let me just share this with you. This is a lie that's been planted in our heads as mamas, and it leaves a big hole in your heart when your babies decide to grow up. This is what I once thought, but I quickly learned that they actually multiply and their spawn come over to visit. So you get all of the good things and none of the bad things, plus you get sleep. I have no idea why God gave us kids first and grandkids second, but I'll tell you, if you're sad at the seasons that pass by too quickly, sweet mama, just trust me when I say the best is yet to come. My home is filled almost daily with the sounds of little people. So my oldest son has 3 daughters. He's got a 4th one on the way, and 2 of them I am homeschooling right here. These sillies I just had in my house all afternoon. So I'm about to start another 20 years of homeschooling. My daughter gets married next week. My sister has 2 kids under the age of 2 and is about to start making baby 3, more on the way. So I still have 4 more kids to have kids. And every day I get to hear giggles and play hide and seek and requests for cookie making and toddlers trikes across my floors. I thought when my kids grew up, I wouldn't need seedlings anymore because my kids are now 22, 20, 19, 16, 14, but I stand corrected because with 5 kids under the age of 3 in my home, these grandbabies and more coming, I'm finding I actually have to triple my seedling supply. We are the ones that make seedlings go out of stock. Okay. I order 30 or 40 wipes every single month and we give them to all the parents, and I still can't keep them stocked in my house. So as a side note, we did a photo shoot with a couple of my grandkids, Rosa and Lila, to use for the PowerPoint for the kids class. And the class is free. How could you ever get upset with these faces? My nephew is featured in the seedlings class and he's so darn cute. So here's a couple of behind the scenes photos with him. Look at his sweet face. He was just downstairs about 10 minutes ago. This is little Josiah. Josiah now can walk. So we're really in trouble because he just takes off. So I can tell you that the one thing that I have learned in this journey is that if you start with the gut and you start with food, you're doing right. And there's going to be much less of the hard things that drive you crazy about babies. So not getting sleep, colic, fussiness, sickness, skin issues, poop issues. Most of the root of the issues you have with babies goes back to food. So it might feel weird for me to start an oils class there, but I believe that if you begin your journey there, you're going to have less problems that you need the oils for. So oils are just an added blessing on top of gut health. So it's time to jump into the seedlings class and pull every drop out of the goodness. So you can give little teases in your team pages. I'm going to show you how to teach this in 10 minutes. It's 9:04. We're going to be done at 9:14 with this workbook. So the way I would use this if I was teaching to my team is I would just pull out a key points maybe for 7 days. And see who can get it right, and then maybe give away a seedlings product every day for 7 days, or a sample of a seedlings product. The products out there at the store are blank and no one will train you on the truth. Why should a baby's first food not be rice cereal, and what should you feed at 4 to 6 months instead? What can you do if you're feeling overwhelmed? And so this just really pulls them in. What's wrong with diapers? Okay, so then the action steps to become an oiling pro. This is a place where I really like to hash it out with my team and go a little deeper. So I'll pick one of these action steps each day, and then I'll do freebies or giveaways or coaching sessions or whatever for people that do some of these action steps. So here's a couple action steps. We started in the first section, but I want to finish it here. Which baby products have you swapped out for truly healthy options? Baby shampoo, baby wipes, linen spray, diaper rash cream, baby diapers. We don't carry these, but I do like bamboo disposables or cloth diapers. Try making some baby food, write down what you made and how it went. Begin baby supplements. I like to start with cod liver oil and probiotics. Turn Feather the Owl diffuser on at naps and bedtime with a lullaby if you like. Which oils and which sound that the feather diffuser makes? What does your baby like best? Because they'll cry if they don't like it. Have you tried any of the Kid Sense oil? So each day you just kind of break one of these things out. They're great for babies too. All of the oils are pre-diluted. So you guys already have social media content. You literally can grab one sentence and just paste it in your page and you already got it written for yourself, right? These are great for babies. All the oils are pre-diluted, so you don't have to carry around extra rollers of carrier oil. I love the roll-on collection and I keep it with me all the time. Gift the seedlings bundle to an expectant mama and stock up on one for yourself too, because that rope basket is legit. And then anoint your baby and each and every one of your kids. Write down the oils used, write what their name means, write some of the words that you said in anointing to remember it forever, and drop a little dab of the oil you used from the same bottle on this page to make it extra special. So I just rub a little on the page. Then some diffuser recipes. Maybe pick 1 or 2 that you share with your team. So you do the welcome home maybe the day after, like the morning after. They're craving more class content. You give them an action step, maybe give them a quote from the class, and it's easy to pull the quote from the class because just take one of the key points from the mini, easy. Or maybe type out the heart message from the mini in your page. So the welcome home bundle, I would just pop this up maybe the week after the class, 4 drops of Gentle Baby, 3 drops of lemon. Who tried it in their diffuser? Or please just sleep is 3 drops lavender, 2 drops orange, 1 drop bergamot, and 2 drops of vetiver. Some of the other ones are No Nightmares, Rock Me, and My Nursery Stank. Calm Baby, Tummy Time, Peace, Breathe, and Happy Baby. Then we give them some loyalty rewards orders for month 1, 2, and 3. This could be one single post that you put up on your team page. So month 1 at 190, grab 2 seedlings gift bundles, one for yourself and one for a friend who's an expectant mama, and add purification essential oil blend. At 250, add wipes and baby wash and shampoo, because those things you'll use more than anything else. At 300, add the seedlings calm essential oil blend and Gentle Baby and maybe Sleepy Eyes. Month 2, Ningxia Red and Mighty Zyme. You're going to start some supplements. 250 PV, add Unwind and Lavender Essential Oil. 300 PV, maybe Mighty Vites and some linen spray. Month 3, you're going to add the Feather the Owl diffuser and some of my favorite essential oils for babies. So vanilla, Peace and Calming 2, frankincense. 250, you'll add Stress Away and bergamot. And at 300, maybe some of the kid scents ones. So Sniffles roll on, Tummy Jies roll on. Then I have a checklist of products mentioned in the class. I actually use this from the workbook before I teach the class because I want them to order it so that they've got it in hand when we're teaching the class. And I say, now you got everything in that little bundle and you can go back out and start using all this stuff right away. So bonus training, usually 2 or 3 days after I shoot the class, I'll pop on and just read the bonus training. It takes me like 3 minutes to read it because they always want something a little more after the class is over. So here's bonus training not included in the script book. So the action steps I spend some time on and kind of break those out over a week. And the bonus training I spend some time on and I maybe shoot another video on this. So exhaustion is real. When you're a mom, you may not find that you have the strength to do much of anything. For a while, it's really good to rest and heal. But a few months or a half a year out, or maybe even longer, you might be finding yourself in the same place. So I always ask myself first, what am I putting in my body? Am I nourishing myself so I can nourish this baby? Am I moving? Even 30 minutes a day will do wonders for every system of the human body. A walk is enough. And then I ask, am I getting any breaks? Do I have a support system for my mental health? Am I getting enough sleep? If not, why? Is there something that I can do with the gut to fix it? And then finally, am I supplementing? You just made a human. So you need to replenish what was lost. So my favorite thing to start with is the Core 4 supplements script and then move from there. So we're talking Life 9, Ningxia, Omega guys, and enzymes, Essential Zyme 4 I like. And then you can add in mineral essence and multigreens are probably 2 of the most important supplements for a woman that's just given birth. Now, if you've crossed all of those things off the list and you're still feeling frustrated, sometimes it's emotional. Your life just changed and your freedom has changed. And so for that, you have to get into your head. You have to start speaking life and looking at your baby from a totally different direction, a blessing. Gary Young spoke to the Silvers at Silver Retreat in 2012 about self-sabotaging, so bringing down your own mind. Gary called it excuse-itis. In this bonus training, Gary discussed how he got out of old deep ruts of potential blocking habits. You still have potential while you're a mama. The dreams in your heart were meant to be chased, even with kids. So you may think that you have nothing to give the world right now, but that's not true at all. You've got gifts and talents unique only to you that were meant to be used. So let's lean into some Gary training if you're feeling really frumpy and without purpose in this season of your life, because you're amazing and you were created for right now. So Gary says, I want you to write it down. How many times have I created my own self-sabotage? Did I sabotage myself unconsciously, consciously, subconsciously, or willingly? The answer will likely be yes to all of those. Then after you've written that down, just close your eyes for a minute and think about the last time when you can remember that you failed at something that you were doing and look at what contributed to that failure. If you're not writing or recording, then you have nothing to go back on to evaluate whether you made a shift to change. So you'll convince yourself that you made a change when actually you didn't. If I were at the distillery, I could pull out my distillery logs for the last 20 years. Because I've written records, I can go back and see where the mistake was made so we don't make the same mistake again. This is just a simple example of how writing down what we've done helps us to succeed by not making the same mistakes all over again. A lot of people blame the economy for their failure. True or false? Young Living is one of the fastest and strongest growing companies in the world. But why? Belief. But it's more than that. The economy doesn't dictate anybody's success. But if you believe it does, then that's where it's going to take you. So change into a space of knowing. You have to change into a space of knowing in order to change your paradigm. It's as simple as that. You move into a space of knowing by knowing who you are and what your strength is. How can you know what that is if you don't write it down and you don't look at it? All of us have created things in our lives, but do you have something to look back on to evaluate what you've accomplished? Now, does that mean that you're not going to have momentary success? No, of course you will. You'll succeed in spite of yourself in some areas and fail in others. You must recognize what's causing your failures and what might be causing your inability to break through barriers. Why is it that you feel that you can't go up to someone to talk about Young Living, for instance? I've listened to excuses so much that I could write an encyclopedia of them. Excuses like, well, I just don't have your personality. That's the sorriest excuse I've ever heard. Your personality has nothing to do with your success. I want you to write that down. My personality has nothing to do with my success. Now, I've shared this before, and for those of you who are new, this is all a Gary quote if you just hopped on. I'll share it again. In 1966, before I graduated from high school, I was voted the least likely to succeed in life by my graduating class. Why was I voted the least likely to succeed? Because my father was poor. We were poor growing up. I fought my way through school because kids would make fun of me because I wore old-fashioned clothes. I had holes in my pants because they were hand-me-down from my cousins. But that created in me the desire to improve and better my life, not to feel sorry for myself. Because my father didn't have the money to buy me clothes, I started my own business when I was 9 years old, my very first business. And you know what it was? Trapping. I trapped beaver, bobcat, muskrat, and coyotes in the wintertime. I would build stretchers and stretch their pelts. And then when my father would go to Idaho Falls to the fur traders, he'd take my pelts and he would sell them. But that created in me the desire to improve and better my life, not to feel sorry for myself. Back in the 1950s, I was getting $3.50 for a bobcat pelt, $2 or $2.50 for a good coyote pelt, and as much as $15 for a good beaver pelt. My father would sell my pelts, my furs, and bring the money home. And I put it in my little bank account. And then in the spring, when we go to the stock auction, I would buy calves with my money. I would feed the calves through the spring and the summer and fall, and then I would sell them and put the money in my bank account. So from the time I was in fourth grade, my father never bought me clothes for school again. I bought all of my own clothes. One time I got really tired of being humiliated and made fun of because I couldn't afford a pair of cowboy boots. So I went to a leather store and I bought leather. And I made a pair of cowboy boots that was the envy of everybody in school. I hand stitched them myself. It took me 3.5 months to make my first pair of cowboy boots. I never wore them out. They were the only pair of boots I never wore out. I wore them until my feet outgrew them. I started making paradigm shifts early in my life, although I didn't realize that's what I was doing. That happened because I changed my desire about life. That desire was to be, first of all, different. What did that mean to me when I was 9 years old? I actually didn't know. I just knew that I didn't want to be poor. I didn't want to grow up like my father, and I didn't want my children, when that time came, to grow up like I did. So know what you don't want and write it down. One of the things I learned from this experience is that you need to know what it is that you don't want and write that down. Know what it is you don't want. When I was a young boy, I wrote what I didn't want in life. Then write down what you do want. But I also wrote down what I did want. I remember back in 1963 or 1964, writing down my desire to go to Canada to homestead and carve a ranch out of the wilderness. And I did it at the age of 18. Age has no bearing on ability. Age has never been a factor for me in doing something. So make no excuses. So many times we get locked into excuses like I'm not old enough, or I'm too young, or I'm too this, or I'm too that, or I'm a woman, or I can't do it, or I'm a guy and I can't be a salesman because I can't bat my eyes just right. It doesn't matter what sex you are. It doesn't matter where you are in life. We all make excuses for not doing things, and we often don't realize that we're making excuses. Sometimes we spend more time justifying not doing something rather than just doing it. Folks, that doesn't mean that you've got to write a volume about what you don't want to be. Just identify one thing you don't want to be. I didn't want to be poor. I watched people make fun of my dad behind his back because we were poor. Yet my dad had the greatest opportunity in his life. When I was growing up, he was a big game hunter. He was an outfitter, and he had the largest territory in the state of Idaho. After he sold it, the man who bought it from him divided into 6 regions and sold 5 of them and kept 1. And then he made a great living off of 1/6 of what my dad had. I was so frustrated to watch this. I know I'm a minute over here, guys, but I just feel like we're in a moment with Gary. So let's keep going. I said to my dad when I was 15 years old, Dad, Let's go to the bank and borrow the money to build cabins down along the creek so we can rent them out to hunters. Let's get some new pack gear and set up some camps in the mountains. And let's start advertising and taking people on fishing trips and photo pack trips in the summertime. We lived in the most majestic place in Idaho, the mountains. Where we lived, we were right at the foot of the Twin Peaks, which was the second highest mountain in the state. We were 9 miles from it. Our hunting territory went from our home all the way to the Sawtooths in western Idaho, and it was huge. I'd ridden almost every mile of that country on a horse. It didn't matter whether it was the Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep that we hunted, or cougar, or bear, or elk, or big mule deer. It was all our territory. We had such a phenomenal opportunity. I said, Dad, if you'll do this, I'll get a full-time job after school and I'll make the payments on the loan, but they won't give me a loan at age 15. But he said, no, I'm not going into debt. Then for 2 years, I talked to my father about my desire to move to Canada. Finally, when I was 17, I said, Dad, I'm sorry. I can't stay here. I'm not going to live like this. And I loaded my 2 horses in my horse trailer and I went to Canada. At first, I was rejected because I was underage. However, I got to the border and they asked me where I was going. And I said, I'm going to Canada. I'm going to Homestead. And they asked, how old are you? Where's your passport? What's your birth certificate? Where's all this information? And I replied, nobody told me I needed to bring it. So they let me go into Canada, but not as an immigrant. I went through as a visitor and went to the Caribou district, and it was great. It was beautiful, and I got a job. Then I got notice that I had to either go back to the States or immigrate. I went to the immigration office as a 17-year-old and asked, how do I immigrate? I was told you can't, you're underage. You've got to have a family member sponsor you. And I said, that's a piece of cake. Can I use my uncle who lives in Alberta? Nope, it's got to be a closer relative, like a father or sibling. I said, okay, I got a sister who's older than me. I drove from Quesnel, British Columbia to Idaho Falls, 2,240 miles. I pulled up to my sister's house at 3 o'clock in the morning and beat on the door till I woke her up. Y'all know Nancy. She came staggering to the door, rubbing the sleep out of her eyes. And by the time she was finally awake, I had her packed. She said, Gary, what are you doing? I told her, you're coming with me. She said, what do you mean I'm coming with you? I've got to. I said, no, you don't. You're coming with me. Before she was totally awake, we were driving through Missoula, Montana. And by the time she knew what happened, we were crossing the border into British Columbia. I took her straight to the immigration office. She was 20 years old and got immigration status. I drove back across the line and applied for immigration status with her sponsoring me. And that's how I got into Canada. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to make it happen. Gary Young at dgaryyoung.com. Isn't that awesome? Tell me what you guys think of that. So we're 5 minutes over, but I think I might even read that again on Tuesday. So if you guys want to, or in a week from Tuesday when I'm driving back from my daughter's wedding, if you guys want to invite your teams on that Tuesday, we'll make sure that I hit that again. So DIY craft for the class, a baby bubble bath. You just do 25 drops of lavender general baby ear seedlings, calm oil, 2 tablespoons of organic vegetable glycerin, 1 cup of Dr. Bronner's Castile soap unscented, and a half a cup of water. Mix it and bam, you got it. There's other recipes in there too for baby powder and nipple cream. I use this all the time for new moms. Postpartum down their pain. For stitches or tears, you take an unbleached pad. I like the brand NatureCare. And you spritz yourself with Clariderm and spritz the pad with Clariderm. And if it stings, you can add some non-alcohol witch hazel and 5 drops of lavender oil. And you just put it on the pad, not you. And you just change it frequently until the bleeding stops. So let's do a couple of affirmations, all right? Are you guys feeling less than adequate? We just went through how to handle adversity. That was a super heavy topic tonight because most new parents feel like they're failing. So we work so hard to do well at work, and then we become a parent, and suddenly it feels like all the things we studied and worked for don't seem to apply to the situation. So feelings of worthlessness can creep in, and sometimes feelings of bitterness creep in. Even if you're having a great parenting experience, there are good and bad days. So on the bad days, I want you to read these out loud. I'm a great parent. I'm willing to learn and grow. I know my child better than anyone else. I have healthy parenting approaches. When something's out of balance, I prayerfully seek answers for solutions that make a difference. I'm confident and growing in my parenting role. I listen to God and I'm guided by Him. I do what's correct for me and my child. Comparisons do not serve me. I let them go. I love being a parent and I love how much joy this role gives me. I have the time for my own needs. I get the rest I need. We have a great time together. My child's health is a priority for me. I feed my child healthy food options and they love eating healthy food. Life is good in my family. We stay fit and love to exercise. Our home is a place of peace. Our home is orderly and organized. We love making memories in this home. I'm grateful that we take the right amount of time to pray as a family. I act in a way that shows respect for my child. I'm blessed with added patience. I speak to my child in a loving, kind voice. Did you notice I didn't pray to ask God to give me patience? That's a prayer you do not want to pray, but I'm blessed with added patience. I'm just going to speak life over that. My child feels safe and honored by me, and I am a good listener. So there's a space for some journaling. And then if you're following the oily hangman, we only got 5 of these classes left. Our letter for the week is E, and then follow-up section. So Tuesday, we are going to hit on the manly man class before we take our little 1-week break for all of the weddings. Let me pick some winners for tonight. I did go a few minutes over. I was trying to keep it to 14 minutes, but we were just so in it, with the Gary thing. And I felt like some people on here really needed to hear that tonight. So I love you guys so much. Beth Villabrin, girl, I'm going to give you 10 minis. I'm just so grateful that you got on. Tonight we were training out of the scriptbook mini, and we were training out of the workbook. So you can grab either of these up on Amazon, or you can go to my website at Oilability with Sarah, S-A-R-A-H. Oh, sorry, that's my email. I'm giving my email. That's how tired I am. You can go to Oilability Team with oilabilityteam.com. Sarah Hinderleiter, I'm going to give you 10 minis. And let's see, I'm going to pick one more here. I just saw your name and now I lost it. Credola. Somebody new. Jenny Chicky Austin Carr. I'm going to give you 10 scriptbook minis as well. So God bless you guys. I was trying to keep you 20 minutes tonight, not 30. But I pray that this is a blessing to you and your teams. I love you so much. I'm going to be a little incognito the next week and a half. I'm doing the best I can, but I will bring the Manly Man class. I've almost got that PowerPoint done. So I will bring it on Tuesday, and then I need a little recovery Tuesday. So we'll just get on and do some good, strong business training when I'm coming back. But thank you. Congratulations to our winners. Thanks for getting on. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday for the Manly Man class. I'm going to bring in some of my men to help me teach that one. So I'll see you guys in a couple of days. Thank you for getting on. Bye.